Hello everyone, it's Alana. I am back with a Friday Night Live, and I'm just gonna get this pulled up on my page. It's taking a second here to load. Hopefully it's working there for you guys. I'll just see. I can see that possibly one person is watching. Hi Ramona, how are you? I brought the welcoming window tonight, Ramona. I have a fancy technique that I learned from somebody else that I'm going to do in the window here. And I'll show you guys this version here as well. It's still not coming up on my end yet, but I can see through my phone that there's a few people there. All right, now it's up on my end. So hopefully it will stay here. Hi, Linda. And not crash on me. Sometimes the iPad just wants to keep crashing, so hopefully it will not do that tonight. All right, so I have a couple samples to show you guys, and then I will make this card here. So this one isn't one that I'm going to make tonight. This one is actually going to be a Stamp Club card this month, and I learned this technique and cased this card from another demonstrator in the US. And I will tell you guys all about it in just a minute. So I have the card that I made last night that I just did the stamped layer for you guys. This one here was the inspiration for this one. And look how dirty my hands are. This is from yesterday when I was playing around with this one here. I got my hands good and covered in ink, and they have been washed a gajillion times, but they are still very stained. So I think I have a little bit better way of doing this technique so that I don't get so covered in ink, but if you have gloves, if you were to try this, that would be helpful. All right, so I will get into showing you guys a couple of samples, and then we'll get into doing this one. You like having dirty hands. Hi, Sandy. How are you? They have been very inky all week long, haven't they, Janet? It was red the other night, and then last night it was blue, and now they're just a rainbow shade of muddy looking fingers is what it looks like. I had physio today, and he's like, I can tell you've been working today. Anyway, so this is the one I'll demo. This is the one that it was inspired by, with a combination of this technique here as well. So this was the one that I did with the gift card holder for you guys last night. I ended up making a second one after we were together. So this was the one I made with you guys, where I turned the inside into this little pocket, and then I used another layer that I stamped afterwards while I still had all my supplies out. And then I added a little bit of spatter to this one, and I did not turn this one into a gift card. But that's the one from yesterday. And then I made this one to demonstrate for you guys today, because yesterday I didn't actually walk you guys through the how-to of how to make the full card. I just showed you how to stamp the Poppin' Pastels, and then how to turn it into the gift card pocket. So I told you guys I'd come back and show you the actual how-to with the card to do the center flap. So I'll do that combined with this technique here in the window. So it's like a mother of pearl is sort of what that's like. But before I do that, I'll just show you guys what my Stamp Club cards are in case these interest you for this month. Can you actually grab me the calendar? I forgot to grab that. I forgot to grab the calendar so I could tell you guys what date Stamp Club is this month in case that's of interest. So my Stamp Club members they commit to joining for 10 months. But if somebody wants to hop in and join us as like a one-off basis, that is an option as well. So if you're interested in joining our Grassy Grove Club this month, you are welcome to. And I'll show you what we are making. I do let them see the projects ahead of time because they need to see the supply list so that they can decide if they want to purchase any extra inks or tools or things like that. We focus on a stamp set or bundle, and then I need to just try to straighten this. And then that way, by showing them what we're making, they can decide if they want to get, say, the inks and things like that. I will still try to straighten this view out for you guys. Sorry, I went and moved it, and there we go. There. Okay, so Stamp Club is sneaking up on us. It is the 21st. So it is a week away from next Monday, and I will be expediting an order yet to get supplies if anyone is interested. If you already own the bundle, you can still join in. It's just a $40 order, and then you get to make the 2 projects with me, and then I make a 3rd one to give you as a gift. So this month we're doing this one. Actually, both cards this month are cased. This one of my customers made. I thought it was really fun how it had this extra fold so that Horizon DSP does all the work here, and then the Grassy Grove has this die cut with it that I use here, and then you can create that fancy fold. So we're using that. The only catch this month is we used On the Horizon last month, so they actually purchased a half a package of DSP, and then that way they had the piece that we needed for last month, and then they would have a piece that we would need for this month as well. They don't have to use this piece, but they know to just save one of their pieces of DSP to use inside of the window here. So participants would want something that they could put on the inside of this layer here so that it looks like a pretty scene peeking through the trees. And then we're going to do this one here as well. And this one is one that I cased from Celine Kempton. She did an amazing video on how to do this technique, and I'll just show you guys. Don't try to use the supple shimmer paper. I was reading the wrong paper, and it does not turn out so well on that. This is why my hands are so terribly blue, because I was desperate to make it work on this paper, and then I clued in that I was using the wrong paper. So don't do that. You guys can learn at my expense. All right, so we're gonna get into making this one, and I just need to grab the name of this paper. It is, oh, I went and moved the pack. The paper that I use here, if you, I think, here's my catalog. I'll just look it up in the catalog. I can't find my pack of paper. So I'll show you guys in the catalog which paper this is. It's in the annual catalog. I believe that's where I got it from. Or is it actually the spring? Do you mind actually passing me the spring one, Ethan? The Pearlescent Specialty Paper, I actually think is what it is. It is the Pearlescent Specialty Paper. So can you guys see? I don't know, you can get a nice glare off of it, but can you see the shimmer there? That is the Pearlescent Specialty Paper, and it's got like it's glossy on the top. All of that texture is not like glimmer paper where you can feel it. It's very smooth. So that's what allows us to do this fancy technique. So I will show you guys how to do this. All right, so this bundle is one of the sale bundles. It's Welcoming Window. So in the Welcoming Window bundle, you get the Welcoming Window stamp set, and then you get all of these dies. So I'll bring those in to show you as well. One's just popping off here. So these ones, Pearlescent Specialty Paper, Janet. It's in the annual catalog, and it comes in 12 by 12 sheets. So I think, I'll just look that up again. I think it's 2 sheets that you get in there. Often the specialty ones come with 2. So you get 2 sheets of 12 by 12 for $5.50. I need to eventually get all fancy where you guys can have the numbers, the product numbers come across the screen, or just type them in the description afterwards for you guys. And then all of these dies come in there. So I need to actually use this die here. We don't have just a solid outline. I kind of wish that there was, but I will actually trace this and cut myself a piece of the paper the size of the window. And then I have pre-cut a bunch of these other elements that I'll show you guys afterwards. Okay, So what I need to do in order to have the piece behind the window, you can see here that I've already cut one. So I just need to use a pair of scissors. This shape is symmetrical, so I could do it either face up or face down, and it's fine. It will work either way. So I'm going to put it face up because then that way the nice flat side is against the back of my paper. So again, it's the pearlescent specialty paper. You want to flip that over backwards, and I'm going to trace the back, or trace it on the back, so that I have a piece that is the size of the window. It might be slightly bigger. I may need to trim a little bit down once I place it behind the actual die cut. I had to do that on my first one. Have any of you tried this technique, or have you done the mother of pearl with some of the old papers we had? We used to have a couple of different papers. I can't recall if it was glossy paper we did this. I'm not sure if you're still there, Sandy, or not, but you might know some of these techniques. All right, now it is a little bit big, so I want to just trim a little bit more off of here so that it will fit nicely behind the die cut of the window frame. Okay, I will try to do this in a less messy way than what I did yesterday. So for this technique, you need I have 99% rubbing alcohol. You're still here. Have you ever done this one, Sandy? The mother of pearl? And if you have, or if anyone else has, what paper did you do it on? Not everybody will have this mother of pearl paper just yet, but you guys may have done it in years gone by with a different paper. I feel like techniques kind of make a resurgence after so long, and this is one of them. All right, so I am actually going to just take these cotton balls. I am sorry if there's anybody here who does not like the feeling of these. I don't love it, but it's kind of worth it. So I just took them and cut them in half. When I did this full background here, I did not cut them in half because I was doing a much larger piece, but because I am doing just a small little piece, I didn't want to waste the few cotton balls I have left. We don't buy them often because we don't go through them often, but I may end up having to buy some more of these because I will be doing this again with Stamp Club, and this is just so pretty that I think it's worth doing again. So I have 5 different colors. I'm going to stick with the same colors that Celine used here. She used the in colors, but if you don't have the in colors, or I know some of them are on back order right now, and who knows if they'll come back. This is the time that if you guys are interested in the outgoing in colors, so the collection that was 2020 to 2022, so Bumblebee, Magenta Madness, Just Jade, Misty Moonlight, and Cinnamon Cider, if they are in stock, you want to get them while they're in stock, because if they sell out, chances are they may not come back. We will get to see the retired list on March 23rd, when we also get to see the new annual catalog. And from then, once they publish that list, it's kind of while supplies last on the re-inkers or anything that's retiring. So if you know you want those, and if you can snag them while they're in stock, then don't delay. All right, so Celine used these colors to create this background here. So I thought I would just go with that and make it sort of look like either stained glass or like a sunset through the window was what I was kind of going for. So I'm not sure if I achieved that. You can't see it as well through the window as you can here. So maybe I'll try to leave a little bit more color in the window this time when I make the card with you guys here. So I'll just repeat those colors. That was pretty quick. So they are Bumblebee, Magenta Madness, Just Jade, Misty Moonlight, and Cinnamon Cider. So those are the 2020 to 2022 outgoing in colors. All right, so what I did here was I just took half a cotton ball. If you were doing a lot of these, you could probably even just do a sheet of this and then cut your windows after. And then you want to take, so that was the rubbing alcohol that I put into the cotton ball. And again, this is based on Celine's idea. I did not come up with this, but I thought it was so pretty. So then you're just gonna dab it on here. And because of the rubbing alcohol, it's sort of like using the blends and alcohol on vellum. It will help it dry, but it's not really going to absorb through the paper. It's just going to dry kind of on the surface. If you get it over the back, then it will sort of soak in along the edges and come through, but we'll try to not have so much of it that it seeps through the back, and along the edges it will be behind the window frame anyway. So you just dab drops of re-inker. I've got to try to remember to put those lids on there as I go, and then just dab this into there. I'll bring in the one on the supple shimmer paper again so you guys can see how awful that was. So see how beautiful this is. I'll see if I can hold it at an angle where you guys can see the shimmer. It's just so pretty. And how awful this one looks. So definitely this pearlescent specialty paper works a lot better. And because this is a half cotton ball, I don't need a lot of the, what's it called? The rubbing alcohol. Now, if you guys are looking to get rubbing alcohol, you probably need to go to the pharmacist and get it over the counter, behind the counter, however you say that, because especially the 90%, they don't leave that out on the shelf. Not a good idea. You just never know what'll happen. I try to put the re-inkers back as I go, because otherwise I end up with the wrong re-inker on the bottle. So this looks really bold. You're probably thinking that looks terrible. I will come back over this again and lift some of it off so that it's not quite so dark. Now I'm actually going to put a drop of the cinnamon cider in with the daffodil, and then that way the cinnamon cider won't be quite so stark. Okay, there we go. So that is all of the colors. Just need to get my lids back on. Avoid having a big disaster. And then I'll take a clean cotton ball, and you can sort of lift it off that way. So if you liked it like this and you were not putting this behind here, I feel like that's a little bit too bold for here, but if you like that look, you could just leave it. It will dry. It is mostly dry on the surface already. So I'll show you guys what it looks like up close with the colors full strength, but you can see how some of those have faded into it. You could use it, like if you were going to do a few of these, then you could reuse it in your crafting session, as long as you don't, like you can see here with the daffodil, or sorry, the bumblebee. Now that I've pressed that back down on the other colors, it kind of picks them up. So you could probably use it a few times, but if you were doing a whole session of these, you'd probably want to keep getting new ones, which is another advantage if you're working with a small surface of cutting them in half. So I actually really like how that looks if it wasn't going to go behind this window. I'll just grab actually my window. I just want to place it in front of that and see how it would look. I feel like it does need to be faded some, but yeah, that's too bold, I think. But depends on the look you're going for. If you want a really nice bold stained glass window look, then you guys could totally just leave it like that. But I'm going to try to lift just a little bit of it. And you've got to be a little bit careful where you place this down so that it doesn't muddy up your colors too much. So I'll just, but you can see there where the alcohol is interacting with it again. And these are not blends. This is just regular re-inkers, if anyone is just jumping in. So usually we use the rubbing alcohol with our blends to get it to blend over non-porous paper. But you can also do that with your regular re-inkers. There's some other techniques I want to try. Wendy, I see Jan's here. Wendy and I were talking. I don't know if Wendy's here, But Wendy and I were talking about using reinkers and alcohol. So we'll have to give that a try. But you can see where you can just kind of get it to blend out a little bit. This is not looking so sunset-ish anymore. It's just gonna look like a stained glass window, I think, as opposed to sunset. But now I feel like it might need a little bit more blue. So you can come back in again. And I want a little bit more blue in there. I feel like that was a little bit too much pink. You probably could even wipe it clean. I better stop there because it's starting to just look really muddy. So I'll stop there, but it will do. I just want to blend this pink one a little bit because it's really bold in comparison to some of the others. There we go. Now I'll stop. So my hands are not as bad as yesterday. I should have wore gloves, but I didn't take the time to go find any. So I'm going to get rid of these. Just garbage them, and then I have one little one left here that I am going to put. I just need to cap that rubbing alcohol, and then I'll wipe this up before I get going. But I love even just that mix of color. I think it's really pretty. It's hard for you guys to see it from that far away, but. And then for those of you who might be new, this mat is one of our grid sheets. And it is just laminated. So I just took it to like an office store and had them. It's not even Staples or the UPS store. We have like a little independent shop near the boys' school. So I try to go there whenever I can and just support small and local. So it's, I think might be Lightning Quick printers, maybe where I got it done. I just know where the place is and I go there, but I should try to get their name in case anyone's interested in going. But I'll bring this closer so you guys can see again that sort of stained glass look. And then with this one here, obviously there's a lot more of like the green and yellow in there than there is here. So I like the way this one turned out with the lighter colors. So I would maybe go for that look again next time. And it might even be worth doing a sheet and then tracing as many windows on the back as possible. And then that way you can have a little bit more control. The little finger protectors, where do you get those, Sandy? That is what I need. I need to get some of those. I believe that it is Lightning Quick printers, Janet, but I will find out. And this label, that is one of the ones from the die that I love to use. I'll see if I can find it in a hurry. It is the Messages die. This is one of my go-to dies. And I just strategically choose which one of these little labels that I need for the project. And then I just place enough paper behind it so that I get that label. So this one here is this label here. And then the one on the bottom of here is this one. Some of them have stitching, some of them don't, but it's a really good finger cots. There we go. And it's just a really good versatile die for little greeting shapes. So that's one that I recommend. Hopefully they don't retire it this year. I'm kind of scared. I feel like we need to do a challenge. What do you guys think is going to retire? While you guys are watching here, let me know what you guys think is going to carry over and what you think is going to retire. And do you think these sale bundles are going to be gone? Let me know your thoughts. All right, so this now is done. And I think I dropped, oh no, here it is. So now it's a really bold stained glass window, but that's okay. And you can see here now, I do need to trim a little bit off. I feel like showing you guys with the colors being really bold is an easier way for you to see the technique. Now, before I glue down my frame of the window, I need to trim off this excess. And I'm also going to wait to adhere that together until I have this flower stamped. If this is too bold with this here, I might come back in and tone that down just a little bit, is what I might do. We'll see how it goes. So then next what I have is the assembly. I was showing you guys yesterday that I used a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece for the back. So that is not, it doesn't fold on this section here. It's this center panel that has the folding mechanism. So this is just your 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece. And then I have a 3 1/4 by 8 1/2 piece. And that's going to be this folding mechanism here. So that's, again, 3 1/4 by 8 1/2, and it is scored at 4 1/4. So that's there. And then I kept the other layers pretty clean. I just went with white, and I textured them with the brick embossing folder, and then I spattered over top of them to give them a little bit more detail so that it wasn't so stark white. So I have the two side panels that are 1 by 4, and they will go here. And then I have another panel that will line the front flap that is 3 by 4. Separate from that, I have, now it is missing. I'll have to get another one. Don't mind my baggie of all the pieces. We have pre-cut. Show you guys which ones. This piece here, it cuts the shutters. So I used the In Good Taste paper, the wood grain from there. It's got that basket weave on the back that I showed you guys the other day. So I used the wood grain from that to cut these shutters. And then I have the little hinges for the shutters that I cut with silver glimmer paper. So that's these. What's really nice about this is you actually get 2 of these, and each one of them cuts 4 at a time. So that's a nice thing when you can roll a die through once and you get all of those cuts. And then I have the windowsill that I cut in black, and then I have it again in the wood grain, but it appears that it either fell out or is missing. So I will have to cut a new one of that. And then it'll show up, right? That's how it goes. And then I'd have some stamping to do for you guys too. So I will stamp the flower pot and the flowers here. Hi, Brenda. What I wish they would have in the new catalog is the ocean paper. I know. It doesn't make sense to me. And silver leafing would be beautiful. I love the gold gilded leafing, but silver would be great. All right, so I will do some stamping, and then we can do some assembly. And I know that that little ledge is somewhere because the scrap is here. So that's interesting. Anyway, we'll get going. I can show you guys, it's cut from this. So if I need to cut a new one, then I'll cut a new one. So first what I need to do is I need a little terracotta pot. I used the cinnamon cider for that. This is also the In Colors, so the re-inker colors that I used coordinate with these colors of ink. So I have cinnamon cider, and then I'm using Magenta Madness for the flowers and Just Jade for the leaves. So we'll get those guys here. So that's just gonna go on my scrap. And then, do any of you guys have this bundle? This is like the, what one did I use the other day? What's Cooking'? I had it, but I hadn't ever used it. So this 20% off sale, the Spring is in Bloom, has been a very good reason for me to put some ink to these stamps that I have never used. I'm sure we are all a little bit alike in that way, that we have these things that we don't tend to use. So hopefully these lives will help you guys to dig out your stamps, even if they're not the ones that I'm using. If you have something similar or the supplies that are similar, you can dig out what you've got at home and get using them. Okay, so now this one, I love how it's got the little openings there, and then that tells me where to stamp. I just need to stand up so that I don't stick my head right in your guys' view. So then that tells us where to stamp the flowers, except for I don't really like how I lined that up. So let's do that one more time, and then I can choose which one I want. Do you guys ever do this, or do you just use it? When I stamp one that I don't use, there's like a few places that I will give them to. I have some friends with who are in daycares or things like that, and then I just send the pieces that I don't need to them to use. All right, this is harder to stamp while trying to not put my head in your guys' view than I thought. There we go, that's a little better. And maybe my head was in your way anyways. I was watching my stamping and not the screen. Maybe we'll get lucky and there will be some gilded leafing in the annual catalog. That would be really nice. So now I need to use this die here, and I usually tape these down. I don't like to take the risk that they're going to just stay in place. So I'll tape that down, and then I'll tape this one down here. So just so that you guys can see here, I used the middle-sized pot. There's 3. There's this tall one and then this little itty bitty one, but I went with this middle-sized one for this project. And then while I am die cutting this, I will take this paper here, and I need to die cut myself another little wood piece for the ledge because mine has gone missing. So to do that, what I did was I just cut a little section off at a 1/2 inch. And then that way I can use that and just place the ledge on there and run that through so that I'm not wasting a whole bunch of the DSP. All right, so I'll run these through, and while I'm cutting this, you guys can comment if you're good with that to tell me what sets you think are going to retire. And I will come back in just a second and read what you guys think is going to be gone. There's always way more things than I would like that retire. But then it also means that we get way more things that are brand new, that are fun and exciting. So it's always bittersweet. Hopefully you guys can hear me while I'm just behind you die cutting. What I should have done is stamped and die cut these ahead of time and then just showed you guys the stamping. Does anyone have any plans this weekend? I know Janet and Tammy have plans. They'll be helping get the fundraiser ready, the Cards for Ukraine, so that will be super helpful. Gotta get that done, and then lots of other things. One more, I'm almost done. Okay, now I'm back. Sorry for the delay. So we've got this one here, and then we've got this, and then I have the little ledge. I had all of these elements cut in black, and I just found it was too dark. So I ended up trying to figure something out that would work to add a little bit more color. So I brought the wood grain in. You guys can let me know what you think of that. Now, before I work on assembly, I was telling you guys that I want to just, oh, I feel like that's way too dark. I feel like I really need to tone down the window. Do you guys agree? It's like, eee. Let me know. I'll give it a second, but I feel like it needs to be toned down a few notches. It's a little bit scary. And I will just grab a new cotton ball for that. You think all the sale bundles are leaving too, Sandy? I don't know, Ramona. That's a good question. Do we think that the mini embossing machine will retire as well? Yeah, I think it's a bit too bright too. I don't know about the mini machine. You know what? I didn't even think about the mini machine going. I assumed the bundles might, but I don't know. So we are going to tone down that window some, or what's beyond the window is going to get toned down some. So I'll try to just, there we go. So by just taking the rubbing alcohol back over that, can just tone it down. It was definitely, eek, too bright. So hopefully now, I know, I agree, Sandy. I hope they don't. It's like everybody's finally getting it, but isn't that how things go sometimes? I think this is much better. I'll bring this a little closer. What do you guys think of that? It's a little bit more toned down. Or a lot more toned down. I'm sorry, you're getting the reflection off that light there. So I'll wipe this table off, and then I will put this back behind that window. And if you were to try this and you know that there's a certain depth that you like, then you could just do a bigger sheet. That's way better. There we go. Is that better? Again, it's got the, I would maybe have picked different colors if I was thinking I would have left so much color in there. I might take a little bit more out of there. That's the nice thing with this paper, because it's got that glossy surface on it. You can just lift the color back off of it. There. So I'll leave it at that. Hi, Lena. Okay, so now we have a little stained glass window, and I can get that ready. So that was why I didn't want to tape down the frame of the window until I had my flower elements ready to go, so that I could decide if I wanted to tone it down. If I had this already glued down, it would be really hard to get in between those spaces. You could do it, but it would just be a lot harder. So if you're going to layer over top, then wait until you've got your elements ready. Yeah, you'll have to catch the replay, Lena. There's a lot of technique going on here. And now I will work on the assembly. So Lena, this is what I'm making, is this center flap card, similar to what I did yesterday, but I didn't do the how-to yesterday. So today you guys are getting the how-to. So we now have all of these little elements ready. I am going to build the front, or build the card, and then I will put all these little elements together for you guys. So before I do that, I need to move this because I am going to spatter some black and crumb cake onto these pieces here, and I don't want all those other pieces in the way while I do this. So I'll just grab these. These can all be laid out, that's fine. I have the raised side of the bricks up. So I did not. Sometimes you can do the debossed side, but I have the embossed side up. Hi, Diane. So I've got black and just a slight spatter. You can do it however much you want. If you like to have a more bold spatter, you could do that. But I just have subtle. And then I'll mix in some crumb cake with that. You could also texture the brick, like add some ink to the edges of the brick to make them a little bit more pronounced, but I'll just leave it at that. So I'll bring this a little closer so you guys can see how much. Excuse again my horribly inked fingers, but that's where the fun is, right? So now what I want to do, I'm going to just distress the edges of these. I still have cotton ball on my scissors. With these outer pieces, I don't want to texture the part that's going to go up against the center panel. I just want to texture or distress the outside 3 sides. Otherwise, I don't know, you don't see that side anyway because it's going to butt up against the center panel. Okay, And I'm just doing this subtly. Don't want to take off too much. Okay, so I have that. So that's those 3 pieces there. And then I'm going to bring in my card base. I clearly have some ink on my fingers still, so let's try to get some of that off before I build my white card base. And I have a grid sheet here. So this one has the measurements. I am using just the Stamparatus sheet because it has the measurements on here, and I'm going to use those so that I know where I want to put the center panel so that it's centered. So with this being 3 1/4 wide, I want one side of it to line up 1 1/8 in from this side and the other 1 1/8 in from this side. This is slightly longer than 5 1/2. So I know that's going to cause me a little bit of a problem. So I'm just going to trim that little bit off. So just check the width of your paper there. That's better. So now that's 5 1/2. And then I will lift this off in a moment to glue it, but I'm just going to show you guys. This side here will line up 1 1/8 in from here, and this side will line up 1 1/8 in from here. So that will come into the 4 3/8, and this one is going to be at 1 1/8. So I'll glue this down first, and then I can build everything around that. And I'll just use Tombow for this. That way I have a little bit of wiggle room, and I'm not putting the glue right up to the sides because I'm going to tuck these little pieces kind of under the edge if I need to. I may not need to, but so now I'm just going to line that bottom right up to the 1 1/8 and 4 3/8. So using my grid sheet has helped me to center this without having a lot of frustration. And then the Tombow also allows me to just slide the fold down to the top of the cardstock. So that's the base of our center flap card. There you go. So if you guys don't have the Stamparatus sheets, but you have another grid sheet or even a ruler, you could just lay a ruler along the bottom and that will work too. I just found it easy to place my base right on top of the grid. So then I can take these here, and if this, by butting this up against here, the 1-inch piece up against this center panel, if I have equal space on all 3 sides, then I'm good. If it was a little bit too long, then I would just lift this back and tuck that just underneath there just a little bit. I don't need to, but that is why I didn't run the glue right to the edge of this piece here, was so that if I just needed that little bit of wiggle room to just slide this under there a tad, then I could. I had to on my other card actually. I was slightly off in my cuts, so I just tucked it under a little bit. All right, so now I'll just glue this down because I know that I've dry fit it first. I know it's good. So I'll just glue that down. And I'm going against my rule, you guys. I always tell you guys that when the paper's textured, I like to use my tear and tape, and I just used Tombow. And it felt strange. So now I will do this one here. Just check that it's, see here, that one is obviously a little bit too long. So this piece here must be a little wider than that one. So this one here, I'm going to need to take advantage of that there and tuck it under, or I can just trim a little bit off. But may as well tuck it under, and then I can show you guys why I did that. And when you're putting these ones down, if you've done the distressing on the edges, you just want to make sure when you're placing it down that you put the 3 sides out, the 3 distressed sides towards the outside. Whoops. I hope that makes sense, what I'm saying. It makes sense to me, but if I'm going too quickly, just tell me, slow down and repeat that. So now I'll just pull this back a little so that I can tuck that edge in. And there we go. Now I can just slide this out, the Tombow on it, so that I now have the 3 sides with an equal reveal. There. It's a good idea to wash your hands if you have as much ink as I do first. Now, this one here is going to get glued in the center there. Are you guys Tombow fans or Tear and Tape fans? Or both? I know we've talked about this before. I'm a both. I use certain glues for certain things. And sometimes I stray, like I just did with the Tombow and textured paper. It still feels foreign. So now we have the base of our card. So this center flap there, and then the decorative sides. Oh, and look, didn't I say that that would show up? There it is, that extra ledge. Once I cut one, then the original would show up, sure enough. And let's just see if this is the right size. This is not. So I do need a 3 by 4 inch piece to go on the inside of this, and that is not here. So I'm going to just quickly cut one of those so that I can also line the inside of my card. That way it will match the outside. And it shouldn't be so hard to find a piece of white cardstock around here, but sometimes it is. Now, I need my little cutter. Okay, so for this I want to have a 3 by 4 inch piece. So I'll just cut it at 3 and then 4. And this will be the piece that will go on the inside. If some of you guys have done this fold with me before, Janet, we did this at what was that set called? The ice cream set that was in the last mini, the January mini last year. We did one of these with that set. All right, so this will be on the inside, but I'll do that after. So now we'll first build the front, and I'll bring this back in so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm going to build my window first, and I do have another type of adhesive that I like to use. I use our Tear and Tape a lot, but I also have a skinny roll, so don't mind the contraband. I love this one for skinny little pieces like this with this window. I'm only going to tape down the vertical panels of the window. But I don't want to use glue for this because it's going onto a glossy paper. That this pearlescent specialty paper is very glossy, and I don't know that I would trust gluing something down with Tombow. I just feel like that might be asking for it to not stick very well. I don't know. I think I would end up with my window sliding all over on there, and I'd have glue everywhere. What about you guys? So now I can just line that up to there. And then with the tape, I just feel like that's much more sturdy. Do you guys agree? Would you use tape, or would you give it your Tombow and hope for the best? So there's the stained glass window, or sunset, whatever you want to call it. I think that's more like a stained glass effect. I would maybe have chosen a different color of flower if I had realized I have so much purple in there, but I think it'll still be okay. Tape for sure, yeah, I agree. Now, with these little window shutters, I found it was too big on here to place them side by side. They are intended to go side by side like this, but it took up a little bit too much room on this panel. If you weren't doing it on a panel that's only 3 1/4 wide, then you could just leave these 3 pieces and line them up beside each other. So typically you would not need to do what I'm about to do. So I just wanted to point that out. But for the sake of this panel, because I had already decided I was doing this type of card and I wanted to make this work with it, an ink blended version. Yeah, I agree. I think that that is something that I should try with this, is to do a different blending method. You could still do the same, like the re-inkers and rubbing alcohol, but just in a different pattern to get kind of like a sunset. I think that would be really pretty through the window. Okay, so I'm just putting that little bit of tape on the back, and I will tuck the shutters a little bit behind to make them a little bit more narrow. So in theory then they wouldn't be wide enough to actually cover your window, but nobody needs to know that. They're not going to measure and say, oh, that shutter is more narrow than the window space, right? So then you take them this way here, and I will tuck it a little bit behind there just to cinch it back some. A bird on the ledge. Oh, there's that little bird in, oh, is it Inspiring Canopy or The Beautiful Trees? Janet, you just got them. I think the little bird is in that one. That would be really cute. So I've got tape on the back of these. And then now I can just set this back behind it just a little bit so that I give a little bit more room on the front panel of my card. So it's like about 1/8 of an inch tucked back behind there. That tape is 1/8 of an inch. So I've just tucked it behind there about that much. And that just cinches it back just enough. So there we can now fit that on the front of our card. But I liked the wood grain. As I was saying, I'll show you guys, I've got them sitting here. I originally had the black shutters and it was just, I don't know, I felt like it was too much black, but the natural wood tones from the In Good Taste DSP, I felt like it just brought it together a little bit better. Okay, so then we have these cute little hinges. I cut them in the silver foil. You can get silver foil in either the paper that carried over from the holiday catalog, or there is silver foil in the blue foils from the Waves of the Ocean line. I'm with Janet. I really wish that the paper and the bling was going to carry over. I really love the DSP from the Waves of the Ocean. I just love the texture of it. And we only get so much time to create with it that then once it's about to retire, I feel panicked to get more. Do you guys ever feel that? So I'm just going to place these hinges on the sample in the catalog. They place the hinges butted up to the window, but because I cinched my window back, or the shutters back some, I didn't have room for that. So I'm just going against the grain and placing them partway on the actual window frame as well. So again, hopefully any builders won't look at this and go, that's not how that works, but it's all good. Or at least I feel like it's all good. Are you guys okay with that? And I'm just using tiny little glue dots to glue these down. I'm putting a glue dot at the base of the hinge and a glue dot behind the point of the hinge, because that's just tidier, I find, than trying to use glue. But whatever is your preferred method is what you can do, or whatever you have. Okay. And then I've got one more. This one will be mostly hidden behind the flower, but I did find that you could sort of still see it. Originally I hadn't put it on, and then I just tucked it inside there because I noticed that I could tell that it was missing. And again, it's super awesome that the die cuts, for those of you who missed this at the beginning, the die cuts 4 of those at once. So that part is really handy. You don't have to fight with cutting that die 4 times. Sometimes they really think about how the dies are going to function to be efficient for us, and I love it when they do. Do you guys agree? All right, so now I have the ledge that I cut in black cardstock, and then I cut just the top of the ledge in the wood grain, the same wood grain from the In Good Taste. And then I'll just cut these bottoms off so that those aren't in the way. And I'll just Tombow glue this down over the black ledge. Do you guys agree that the black was like too much black if it was all done in black? Yeah. I just felt like it was too much. I tried it in white too. I originally had the patterned brick from In Good Taste, or no, patterned brick from the plant paper. I can't remember what it's called. And then I had the the white painted paper. I'll show you guys. So then that will end up going down in front of there. White and natural wood grains is definitely on trend in design. So I felt like once I toned it back down from black, I felt like the white and natural wood grains were the better way to go. But just so you can see, this was the paper I originally started with from the plant paper, and it just seemed like too much. I felt like it was too bold, so I switched that out, and then I went with this here, which was this is from In Good Taste. It's just that it looks like white painted textured walls, so I had switched it out for this to tone it down. And then I ended up coming back to just doing the textured brick. So just the white on white with the wood grain details. So hopefully you guys like that. Do you all agree that the brick is the best, or would you have gone with the DSP? If you have the DSP and you need to use it, I think that this one definitely is a contender. But I liked how the brick emboss folder worked out. Okay, so now we're going to just build this. So I'll keep this one close by so I can kind of use that as my guide. I did raise this one with dimensionals, so just one layer behind there. And it is always a mystery. I always start with them beside me, and then where I put them is a mystery from there. I had a nice full sheet sitting right here. You can see here, this is the one I started with the taller pot, and then I switched it out for the shorter one. And I just gotta find those dimensionals. You know that there is a lot of things going on when dimensionals are nowhere to be found. Here we go. They're probably right underneath the stamp set or something like that. So I will, so there you can see how along the edge there's some of that ink that gets into the back, but that's okay. I like my dimensionals, you guys. Always put lots of them. I did cut them in half this time just to make that strip that I had left over go a little bit further. That full sheet will turn up somewhere. So again, I'm just going to keep these side by side, and then that way I can use the one on the right as my guide as to how high I want to go with this one, so that I can still fit everything below. So that is raised. Now what I did to put the ledge on is I actually just snipped a skinny little piece from the border of my dimensionals, and then you can just place that along the bottom of your window ledge, or your window frame, sorry. So here I placed it so that you could, the ledge is up to the bottom of the window frame. So now I can just peel that backing off, and then I can center this little ledge right up against there. There. And I didn't even bother to put anything under here. You could come back and do that if you wanted to, but I just left it. And then there's a few extra layers of dimensionals here. So next I put the little pot on one dimensional, and I just tucked it over the edge a little bit. And then, oh, you know what? I actually did two. I lied to you, because the window ledge is already on one. I double-deckered the pot. It didn't look right as soon as I put that on there. It's a little bit too low. You like the brick? I'm glad you guys like the brick. I'm glad we're in agreement. So now I will put the little pot there. And then I put this one. Now I need to check. The, look, I forgot a backing there. Now the flowers are also on a double decker. So I did not raise them further up than the pot, but just a double-decker layer. Do you guys do that? Do double-decker your dimensionals when you are placing one layer in front of another layer? Sometimes I tell myself, oh, just stick it down, and then I end up peeling it off. So I just do it to start with if I'm dimensionaling one in front of the other. Okay, so there now. This can just drape over the edge. This one looks a little bit crooked. It's like a game of how many times can you lift that off and the dimension will still be sticky. There we go. Okay. But the little bird, I agree, Janet, if the bird from, I think it's the Beautiful Trees, that would be super cute on the ledge. I wanted a little something. The pot of flowers might be a little bit big, but that bird would be adorable. All right, so we have this. I should have put my strip of DSP across here before I put this down. I usually do that, and for some silly reason, I did not do that right now. But we need to still build the DSP here, and then DSP on the inside. So I cut this one down to 3 inches by 1/2 inch. So that strip there, it was a little bit naked underneath the window. Like you can see here, it just looks like it's missing something. So I dug through my DSP, and mini butterflies. That's a good idea, Lena. I actually thought about using the in color flowers because I use the in colors here. I contemplated using the little flower gems in here, but I ended up deciding against it. But the butterflies would be adorable. So this is from the Pattern Party Host DSP. I felt like this pattern sort of went okay with this. So I'll cut it at 3. And then this is 1 inch wide. I think it's 1 inch wide. So I want these 2 pieces. One will become this little piece on the front, and then one will go on the inside. And then that way it kind of ties those two, the front and the inside, together. All right, now first, before I do that, I've got this little label for those of you that didn't see at the beginning. This is from the Messages die. So this one is just from here. And when we're cutting these, we just place enough just behind the label we want and then roll that one through. So that is this one. And I've got the little welcome that is from Welcoming Window. So that's this one here that I used. I wish that it had a congratulations on your new home or something like that, because I feel like if we turned this one into the gift card holder that I did yesterday with the other card, that you could give somebody a housewarming gift card and put it in here. So you could still do welcome for, it's welcome to their new home, right? There we go. I love the script of this welcome. I think it's really pretty. So now we've got that. I'm going to give this a second to dry. So I'll get this piece on here. Now the reason I was saying that I wish I would have put this piece of DSP down to this 3-inch brick panel first is that when you put that down first, I could trim off this little bit that is too long. So I'll bring that closer so you guys can see. It's a little bit longer, so I need to clean that up before I put it down now, instead of having been able to just glue it down and then trim that little bit off. So here I've got to trim it and hope I don't take too much. So I will trim a little bit, test it out, and it's good. So I am glad that I didn't take more than that, because I nearly did. I mean, I have more that I could cut, but we don't want to have to do that. There we go. So now I can glue that down. And I should have made sure that my label was going to center nicely. And then now my welcome, I will just dimensional down right in the center there. I feel like it worked out okay to fill this bottom space with the DSP and this. It was not my original plan. I wasn't sure what I was going to do there, but I had built the window and I felt like it needed a little bit of something Do you guys agree? I think it was just missing that little bit. Oh, now my trouble is just getting that centered. There. So now we've got the greeting, and then I just want to line the inside. This DSP, Janet, is the Pattern Party Host DSP. It has a whole bunch of patterns in it that have black and white on one side and then colorful patterns on the other. I will show it to you in the catalog. So now I originally matched up where this piece went with where the piece on the inside would go with the piece on the outside. So I laid them next to each other and just matched it up. But I had to bump this one on the front down in order to be able to center the greeting. So I think I am going to, you know what, maybe I'll just keep it as low as this one. So I'll do that. Sorry, Lena, what was your mini bow beneath the flowers too? Oh, like a little twine bow or something like that. That would be cute too. Could definitely add more or add less, whatever suits your style. I think that's the nice thing, is that we all have kind of things that we like to do. I definitely have some signature moves that I notice that I do all the time, like a little strand of silver thread from the Simply Elegant trim. That's one that I tend to do a lot. There we go. And I love all the suggestions. They're always appreciated. Now this piece here, I will just glue down. I think I just put the glue away too. And I'll put this on the inside. So do any of you have the pearlescent specialty paper at home? Is it something that you would try this with? There. So now the inside coordinates with the front, and there is our welcoming window center flap card. So what do you guys think? Do you like the bolder window insert, or the sky or stained glass or whatever you want to call it? I feel like it's more stained glass at this point because it's not really a sunset through the window, which is kind of what I was, not necessarily sunset, but like your marbled looking sky in the background through the window. But I feel like it's more of a stained glass window at this rate. I like the bolder one too. I feel like this one's just a little too muted and Eastery looking, if that makes sense. I think I took too much out of that and made it look like Easter pastels. So with that, actually, it would look really cool, I think, if you made Easter eggs out of that paper. If do we have any ovals? We have the oval punch that might work for Easter eggs. So I think that would be cool with that one. But there we go. So that is the center flap card. And again, you could totally turn this one into the pocket. It reminds you of a reflection. Yeah, it kind of does. I see what you're saying. I love that paper. I have it and I had never used it until Celine showed the this version here. So Mireille, we're going to be doing this one with Stamp Club. And Janet and Jessica. There's a few of you here that will be doing this one with me. So for those of you who are in Stamp Club, you already know, if you don't have those in colors and you want to do it with these colors that we used, that you'll want to possibly put those on your order list. Some of you already ordered the Grassy Grove bundle, so then your $40 purchase is freed up to get the re-inkers or whatever else you want. And then if you don't want to get those 5 colors, or if they're out of stock, then you can kind of pick any colors that you think would look nice in the background that would still go with Just Jade. So yeah, we're going to be making this one. So I'll just recap that. For anyone who's interested in Stamp Club this month, it is on the 21st. We are featuring the Grassy Grove bundle, and we will make these 2 cards, and then I will make a 3rd card that I give as a gift with their class kits. So we'll be doing this one that features this technique that I just did tonight, and then we'll also be doing this fun fold here with the Grassy Grove die and the Horizons DSP. I love this one. This one, again, neither of these cards are my own design, this month I just happened to case both of them, but I loved the designs that these people showed and wanted to be able to make these with everyone. So that's what we will be doing this month. If you're interested, let me know. I can either, if you're not local, I can send you the club host code so that you can use that. Or if you're local and you're interested, then I'll be expediting the order to get everything here in time for Stamp Club. All right, does anyone have any questions? Just scroll down. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys coming and joining me tonight. I decided that I would not do the draws tonight because it's Friday and you guys have not had much chance to stamp since yesterday likely. So I figured I'd give you guys the weekend, because on yesterday's live, I said if you came back and posted a photo in the comments of a project that you make with the Poppin' Pastels, then I would give you an extra ballot in the draw to receive yesterday's card. So giving you guys the weekend to do that will just give you a little bit more time. So I'll do the draws on Monday. So if you're interested in earning ballots for the draws, if you share these live videos and comment to let me know that you did. If you don't comment to let me know that you shared, it's just really hard to actually know that anybody did. There isn't really a great way to track it unless you guys tell me that you did so. So just comment to let me know that you shared, either on yesterday's video or this one or the one the day before, but comment on the appropriate video to say that you shared it, and you will get a ballot in the draws that I will do Monday to do the giveaways. So yeah, no pressure to do so, but just want to give you guys a little bit of appreciation for sharing and being here watching with me. So thank you guys again so much for joining me on your Friday night. I will come back this weekend for sure. I just don't know yet if it'll be tomorrow or Sunday or both. So we will see. I apologize that it's not with a lot of notice necessarily. So I really appreciate you guys coming when there's just a couple of hours and then I say, hey, I'm going live. But another one of those days today where it was just a little bit of everything going on. And but I will definitely come back on the weekend and then Monday as well with the draws and another live. All right. I don't know if there's any questions. If I missed any, then I'll come back. And again, if you guys are interested in using the host code, if you place a $65 order, then you will get a free gift from me this month. And then if you place a $100 order, then you will get in on the free exclusive class. And then if you're interested in Stamp Club, make sure that you let me know about that one as well. All right. Thank you guys. I will see you again yet this weekend. Good night.